What's going on, everyone? So Los Angeles Lakers continue their road trip, this time against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Cavaliers are undefeated. They are 4-0. Lakers are 3-1. So it would be nice for the Lakers to give Cleveland their first loss on the season. Now, Cleveland, look, they're a very talented, very good team. They are looking to stay on pace with the Boston Celtics, be a team in that upper standings as far as the Eastern Conference goes, right? You're going in Cleveland, LeBron James in Cleveland. On top of that, right, I'm curious to see, does Bronny play at all in this game? So in the offseason, I said that I believe Bronny would play more like close to a handful of games. Obviously, opening night in LA. I said that I thought that they would play him in Cleveland briefly, right? Because where LeBron was drafted, where he grew up, also where Bronny grew up, right? So I figured Cleveland and then maybe Miami would be the three places where we may get a Bronny cameo. And he's supposedly on the road trip with them, so it would kind of make sense that that's why. And then after the road trip, he's supposed to go to the G League full time. So it kind of makes sense to, again, kind of do what you did opening night, play Bronny a few minutes. But obviously most important is winning this game. You just dropped a game that you should have won against Phoenix. I talked about the losses and how do you bounce back? How do you respond from a loss? Playing a team on the road that is undefeated. Nobody has beaten them thus far. Right? How do you respond? Especially in a game in which you should have won. Right? LeBron was not great. Laid a bit of a dud. That was one of the worst games I've seen him play in a long time. Now, he said he was sick. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. He also had kind of a hoarse throat when he was talking. So it's fine. It's understandable. He even said in the post-game stream, he's got to be sick. Like the way he looked. It wasn't that he just shot poorly. Like, guys shoot bad. It happens. Part of life, right? Part of playing basketball. Right? LeBron's had poor shooting nights before. But it was just the way he was out there, right? He looked very lethargic. He looked very like he was almost sick, right? So it made sense that when LeBron said what he said, that, okay, it's fine. Hopefully he's better now. Hopefully he's ready to go. And hopefully he's ready to ball out in Cleveland. He owes us a game, right? We shouldn't have lost that Phoenix game. That's a game that, although, look, no losses are ever good, particularly in the Western Conference, right? As stacked as the Western Conference is. However, I don't think I think I'm going to be right in my predictions that the Western Conference isn't going to be as good as it was last year, or at least as tight as it was last year. Like, teams that really stand out super well, outside of like OKC, of course, stuff, but like a lot of teams that, were projected to be really good are kind of having their struggles. And I said, I think a lot of these teams got worse this offseason, but we'll see. Still early in the season, and I digress, but no loss is a good loss. But as far as like best case scenarios, as far as a loss goes, that was one of them, right? Like, you had a LeBron James who was sick and looked sick out there on the basketball court. You played Phoenix the second time in 3 days in a 3-game period. You're on the road for the first game of the season, and you're kind of battling and going back and forth, and you have like no bench production. It was just like most of the things that could have went wrong in that game went wrong, and you still had an opportunity to win that game and probably should have won that game. So again, granted, it's a loss, and you don't want to see the losses. That was a loss that you can kind of swallow and just go, you know what? Like, we can live with that, right? And it's like I've talked about. How do you look in the loss? Like, what was it? Did the Lakers just get outplayed? Was Phoenix just by far the better team? Did Phoenix just shoot the lights out? Like, what was it? To me, it was just, again, it was the little things, right? Like, Phoenix, credit them, tip your cap to them. They closed and did what they needed to do down the stretch. Lakers didn't. But a lot of it was, if LeBron James had a half decent game, right? If LeBron gives us like one more basket, right? Like, we win that game. If we get like one more basket from the bench, we win that game, right? Like, we were this close against the team. I love that matchup against Phoenix. I think if we play Phoenix in the playoffs, we beat them in like 5 tops, right? I just think it's a really good matchup for the Lakers. But that game's behind you. You dust it off, you wash your hands of it, and you move on to Cleveland, right? You're 3-1. You don't want to be 3-2. You want to be 4-1, right? And then your schedule gets a lot easier. These next handful of games are very winnable, including that Cleveland game. I do think the Lakers match up well against Cleveland, and I do think that the Lakers can beat Cleveland. So you have in my opinion, the next at least handful of games are incredibly winnable. I said bare minimum, I wanted to go 3-2 on this road trip, right? I had Phoenix as an L, although I really liked the matchup. I did say that I thought they would lose. You got to handle business against Cleveland, because Cleveland is, out of the teams that are here that could give you that L, Cleveland is one of them. But I'd like to get that one out the way, and then maybe we go 4-1. If you drop a game, it's not the end of the world. It's like, okay, you lost a Phoenix game, you lost some, I think we play like Memphis on the road. It's like, oh, you lost the Memphis game, okay, but it's fine. We got the Cavs game, what I'm trying to remember what it is off the top of my head. Raptors, I think you play. Like, you got like a handful of games, right? And it's like, okay, you got these games. You pull off those games, pull off those wins, get the Cavs wins. Now everything is back on track. Now the ship is right once again. Anthony Davis needs to continue to dominate, right? Jared Allen, you should be able to dominate Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. They're good. They're talented. They can do quite a bit. But Anthony Davis is on an MVP level tear, and I want to see that continue. Keep feeding the beast. Keep putting him in position to have success. I'm really excited to see how do they go up against, Cavs and their defense, as well as, their offense production. They're looking like a very good basketball team lately. Again, they're 4-0 for a reason. Can we finally throw a wrench into their schemes? Can we finally throw a wrench into their success? Right? And now we're that one blemish that they have. And kind of, again, start looking good. How do you bounce back is my point, right? Every game you lose, you need to win 3. Because again, look, it was like 2 games that separated the play-in from the playoffs. Right? Like, you're talking about the difference between being a top 4-5 seed at the worst to being the 7th, 8th seed. And all it could take is an extended losing streak. You lose, 3-4 games in a row. That could be the difference between you being a playoff, like bona fide playoff team, and you being in the play-in, just based off of what we saw last year. Like I said, I'm not as sold on some of these Western Conference teams this year as they looked last year, but all we have to go on is the information we have. And last year, it was incredibly difficult, incredibly tight, and we're just not in a position to mess around. You cannot play. You need to handle business. You need to win these games that, are like the fringe, hey, you could lose this game, but you probably should win it. And then you definitely need to win the games that you're supposed to win. You need to beat the bad teams. You need to beat those fringe games, right? And then hopefully at least split the games that you can argue like, hey, this team is good enough to beat us, consistently. The Bostons, the Denvers, the things like that. I'm not saying you lose all of them to them, but play Denver 4 times. If you split 2-2, perfect. Especially if you're handling business against the teams that you're supposed to be. You beat Phoenix 3 out of 4 times, right? You beat, Memphis 3 out of 4 times, right? And then it's like, okay, well, we split against Minnesota. We split against the Thunder. We split against the Denver Nuggets, right? We split against Dallas. But we beat all these other teams, right? That's what you need to do. And this is the first step. The Cavs are a very good basketball team. They're more than capable of beating us, and they would love to start the season 5-0. They would love to continue to be at the top of that standings. They're hoping Boston drops a game or 2 and that they can continue winning, and then they could maybe potentially finish with the 1 seed. Lakers need to go in, handle business, play your game, right? I'm really excited to see how do the Lakers bounce back from a loss. They just get ran through. Does this team respond? Right? They lose again in another tight game, and it's like, something's got to change here a little bit, right? Or is it they go in and they handle business and they get back to playing their game of basketball? LeBron James plays like LeBron James, and AD continues to dominate, and Reeves continues to play the way that we know he could play, and this team rallies together and goes, hey, let's 4-1. Right? That should be the mission. Take it a game at a time. Get this to 4-1. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yeah, got to go get this win? Do you think, like, it doesn't really matter either way, it's early in the season? Do you trust that this team is going to bounce back, handle business? Do you think LeBron is going to be back and kind of get back to, I mean, it can't be much worse than he was, right? I mean, he was pretty rough. That was one of the worst games I've seen of LeBron in a very long time. And again, it wasn't even just the poor shooting. It was just the overall play and the energy and just the effort just really didn't seem to be there the way that we needed it to be. But, hey, again, wash your hands of it. Tough loss. It happens. Losses happen. How is the response? Are you excited for the response? Do you believe that, like, yes, the Lakers, they're going to respond. They're going to bounce back. We're going to be 4-1 by the time the day is over. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you like this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.